Hi, my name's Catherine, and I go by the Blue Box Stitcher here on FlossTube, and this is my mid-year WIP parade. I wasn't sure if I was going to do one of these, but I am long overdue for a floss tube, and I've essentially worked on like almost all of my WIPs since my last floss tube, so I figured I'm gonna do this. Also, my roommate's cat is like yowling in the living room, so I'm not like, he's fine. He just wants to go inside her room. But yeah, this is a very like chill, laid back mid-year WIP parade. I am actually missing a few WIPs, but I just thought it would be fun to like go through them quickly with y'all. But yeah, this is a chill time. So grab a drink. I have a coffee that's low-key like hurting my stomach, but I'm gonna drink it anyways. Grab a drink, grab your stitching, and let's just like hang out. Let's see if I can like make it a tiny bit brighter. I feel like that there's just like a dark corner over here that I'm not vibing with, but maybe I'll just make it brighter in editing. This is chill. We're not putting a ton of effort into this, I'm not gonna lie. But my first one is new. For anyone who's been watching, you have not seen this yet, but I actually got a ton of progress on it, and that is my Strawberry Moon Start. So here we go. I also did not iron. Like I said, this is chill, okay? It's a giant strawberry, obviously. It looks so good, TBH. I'm like 60% of the way through. It's a little over 2,000 stitches in total, and it's like Strawberry Moon by Stay Platinum Stitchery on Etsy, and I love it. It's not like super my vibe because I'm not like a huge pink girly, but I wanted to join the Strawberry Moon Stitch along, and I moved, which is why I'm in a new location, and there's nothing on my walls. There will be, but currently all my decorations are in a storage unit. My roommate seems to really like the color pink, so I was like, you know what, I should really just like finish this and put it on the wall in our living room. So that's my goal. But yeah, one last look. These are also in like a totally random order. Like I put this one on top because it's new, but the rest of them are just in the order that I found them in my room. This is Revenge Orca by Quirky Quaker. I have not worked on this in 2025. It was in my last WIP parade, like my end of year WIP parade. My issue is that maybe I did work on this a little bit this year. The issue is that the white is like barely visible, and that's really all I need to do on it besides backstitching. But the white is just like almost impossible to see on this. Like you see it a little bit more in person, but it's really frustrating, and so I'm actually thinking about ripping out the white and replacing it with like a light blue, because like there's supposed to be like splashes on the corners, and then there's yachts because like it's the orcas who capsized the yachts, and then it says Eat the Rich at the bottom, which I'm not sure if I'll include, but like you cannot see the white at all. So I feel like for the yachts, like the back stitching will help, but for like the corners where it's supposed to look like ocean spray, like you just can't see it. So I'm like, maybe I just need, so I haven't been working on it because I'm frustrated. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do about that one. This one I definitely have not worked on this year in 2025, but I actually am planning on bringing it out soon for Christmas in July. This is, I actually don't remember who this is, but I'll put it in the I'll put it in the description box. But it's like a frog. There's a frog here, and then there's mistletoe up here. I'm like 50% of the way done with this, I think. It's on, I haven't even been saying the fabric names. Okay, the strawberry was on 14 count, like mystery Ada, that I got in a grab bag. the Orca's on 16 count Celestine by Fiber on a Whim. This is Mystic Fabrics, 18 count. I feel like it started with an S, Seraphim. And I really like it, but I did get stalled down on it because I got a new phone and I lost all my progress in my app, Bark Up RXP, so I just have to put it all back in, so then I can like get back into it. Oh, and see, the light's coming like from this way, so it's a little weird. But we're just hanging out. That's that. Next up we have Spring Quaker box. I don't know. Palm Street has these like postcard mini houses. Salt box. Spring salt box. And I started it. I started one of the spring ones, but I did a color conversion that like is reading a bit garish to me, TBH. So I'm not like 100% certain as to what I want to do with this one. I also just like have other whips that call to me more. I do think it's really pretty. Also, like, I'm just gonna be putting the picture at some point throughout this. So you should have seen it by now, but like I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do about this. Like, it's staying as a whip, but like I don't know if I love the colors that I chose. But then I'm also like, there's so much left of it. Like, maybe there's supposed to be like kind of a gray roof at the top, and I feel like that could really ground the like bright blues. So we'll see. I also like didn't write down what colors these were, so I have no idea like what we're doing with that. That's on the same fabric as my Orca 16 count Celestine by Fiber on a Whim. Next up is something that you've seen many times on my channel and I have a love-hate relationship with. It's like kind of crinkly because it's big, so I've been rolling the fabric, but this is it in its glory. It is, I'm like trying to get it at like a good spot in frame, but it's literally so big and you can literally see me through the fabric. Let me see if I can like put some fabric on the back of it. Do I like even remember how to do floss tube? No, I don't think so. That looks a little better, I think. So this is the 2024 Stitch for Pride by D's 20 Stitches. So it's last year's Stitch for Pride, and each motif is based on a different queer or trans artist. And so there's like one motif per month. I started it in January. I obviously like did not keep up with a motif a month. This is January, February, and then I ended up going off script. I did the bottom one and then I moved up to the top here because I'm trying to like outline the box so I can cut the extra fabric off. I'm doing it as like a sampler, so all the motifs are on one piece of fabric. This is just 16 count black Zweigart. It's not my favorite to stitch on, if I'm honest. I kind of feel like my taste has changed a little bit in terms of what I want to stitch. I am like not a very, I would not say I'm like a hugely feminine person. But, and so like when I first started stitching, I was like, I want to stitch everything on black. I want like modern, quirky designs. But the more I stitch, the more I've kind of grown to love the more like traditional look, which doesn't really like match my like personality, but like something about it I just really like. And so I'm kind of like, if I started this now, I would probably start it on like a tan fabric, which is crazy. But I'm like, I like really like that sampler look. So to me, like this black fabric is almost like too modern to me now. And the colors, like, I'm not good at color theory and the colors all look different on black fabric, but I like know the vision I had when I started this, and I know that I really liked it at the time, and I know that I think I would like it if I finished it. It's not that I don't like it, although I'm forever like complaining about the color that I chose for the top motif. Like, I think it will really come together the more I stitch on it. And this I do have the most stitches on of any project I have. It's got about 3,000 stitches done, which puts me at like 20%. So, oh yeah, and like, if you watch my floss tubes, you'll know that this is my most recent motif start. I got kind of stalled out on it because I had to frog like a big section, but I'm actually doing this with Sulky. So that I am enjoying like trying out different flosses. Like these top two were General Art. The bottom one was a DMC. Now this is Sulky. So I do think it's kind of cool that it's also like a thread sampler. And I really like the Sulky actually, and I love the way it looks on the fabric. I think I just need to like recommit to this, to be honest. Like, one thing that did appeal to me for my WIP Parade is I've started so many things since the beginning of the year. I think that is largely attributed to FlossTube, because I see things and I want to start them, and then everyone I see on FlossTube is so many WIPs. I do think that I am a person who enjoys having a decent amount of WIPs though. Not a lot compared to other people on FlossTube, but I'm not a monogamous stitcher. I really stalled out on my stitching in 2024, and that's I think because I tried to be a monogamous stitcher and it drove me crazy. And so I do love having all of these WIPs. And my plan this year was to do no gift stitching, and just like go where the vibe takes me, go where the wind takes me. I did start a lot of things though in like 6 months. And so even though I'm like, I enjoy having a bunch of different projects to work on, I do want to see like consistent progress on them. And this is the one that I have the most progress on, and I don't really want to get stalled out with any of my projects where I'm at like 3,000 stitches and then I don't work on it. That's crazy. I want to finish it and put it on my wall. I just don't need to finish it in like a specific, I just need to be like continually working on it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So I never want to get to the point in my number of WIPs where I can't like really continually work on everything that I have. Does that make sense? So the point is, like, I started a lot of things in the first 6 months, and I'm only planning on starting like 3 things in the second half of the year. And I'm actually going on like a no buy, because like I said, I just moved, and if you exist on this earth, you know that moving is quite expensive. So I'm like, I need to do a no buy, and I don't want to WIP down by any means, but I want to work on my WIPs. So it's going to be like 3 starts in the second half of the year, I think. That was kind of a tangent. I feel like I'm just like moving through these really fast, and I don't really want to. I want to be like chatting, you know? So yeah, this is, you know, I have like mixed feeling. Like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with this. There's a big sriracha bottle. This is the only thing that's not on my no buy. The exception is to buy floss for this. And I have realized that I don't like buying floss online. I like buying it in person, which is unfortunate because it's kind of annoying to go to LNS's. Like, I love going to LNS's, but they can be kind of hard to get to. But there's like a big sriracha bottle right here, and I kind of feel like once I have the sriracha bottle in, I'll start to see how I like all the colors coming together. But yes, that is that. My next one is Carolyn Manning, Garden Secrets. And if you watch Stitchpocalypse, who everyone should watch, I love Stitchpocalypse. He always says that he wants to learn something new with each of his WIPs, and I don't necessarily like try to start WIPs that I think I'll learn something from, but I do feel like I am learning a lot. I learn something new from each of my WIPs as I start them and as I like stitch more. So like, for instance, this is a Carolyn Manning. I'll show it to you. I started it for Manning Bay. It has quite a bit more progress than the last time you saw it, to be honest. I don't remember which way is that. I like really have to think about this for a second. I think it goes like this. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is so beautiful. I love the way it looks. It's so fiddly. So like when I started this is on 14 count sterling by Picture This Plus. And the vision I have for this is I wanted it to be like almost like tile work on stone, or like a garden scene on stone, almost inspired by, if you know anything about like Islamic architecture, you know that they're really into tile work and like geometric shapes, and it's really like my favorite kind of art to exist. And so this just like kind of reminded me, like I wanted to imitate the vibes of that. And the thing about this is like it's so annoying to stitch. Like I was like, I'm gonna do it on 14 count, I'm gonna do all the DMC, it's gonna be like one of my chill projects. Like I have these huge samplers that I've started, I want a chill project. This is like the least chill project that I have, okay? Because there's so much color changing, it's so fiddly, okay? So you do like 60 stitches in like an hour, which like does make me a little bonkers. So like that is something that I've learned from doing this piece, is like this kind of stitching is not necessarily my favorite. But like I think there are projects that you like really enjoy stitching on and you're like, yeah, I'm just stitching this to have fun. Like, okay, let's like compare this one to my Strawberry Moon, because the Strawberry Moon ended up being the vibe that I wanted this to be. This is finicky, this is fiddly, this is kind of annoying to work on, but it looks stunning. And so I'm like motivated by the fact that I really like how it looks and I want it on my wall. Compared to Strawberry Moon, this has like been through the ringer, okay? I was working on it on the beach, literally on the beach. It got sandy, the flosses somehow like got wet, and so they dried out, and I'm still using that. I'm like still pulling from that floss, like the actual skein got wet and dried. And I would not say that I think my stitches look phenomenal on this, okay? Like I said, it's a 14 count. It's less tight than the other one because Picture This Plus is a bit of a tighter weave. But I enjoy working on it because it's very like right here. Sorry, those stitches are like ugly. But I really enjoy the process of working on it. I find to be really relaxing because it's just like chunky block stitching, and I'm at a place right now where that's like what I need. So like this one I'm motivated by the end product, and this one I'm motivated by the fact that the process, like I do think it looks nice, but it's not, I think it will fit with the rest of the decor in my apartment, which is another reason that I'm really motivated to do it. But like it's not like 100% me, if that makes sense. So it's like interesting how like I think like it's interesting how when you end up having like a decent amount of WIPs, how like each one serves a different purpose. Like I think that people, like when I started watching FlossTube, I didn't really understand why people had a lot of WIPs, because I was like, stitching is stitching, no matter, like it's the same thing no matter what project you're working on. But it's like really not. It's like really mood dependent. It's very like, I tend to like associate what's around me with what I'm working on, which like I'll get into for my next WIP. My next WIP is on 14 count like thrift store Aida, which I would never work on again, TBH. This Aida is just like, I think two 14 count, you know what I mean? Oh my god, I just tried to like, I was trying to straighten it out and the needle just flew out of it with a needle minder. That's great. It's a problem for another day. This is Roll Initiative. It's upside down. No, it's not. Roll Initiative. I got it off of Etsy. It like looks really good in the camera actually. I washed it. So it looks a lot better after I washed it, not gonna lie. I'm like so close to being done. Like I literally have like 150 stitches. I started in February and it says when someone attacks one party member, we all roll initiative. I'm so sorry about the big hoop mark. And then this is the D20 and it's in the trans colors. So when you talk about like the purpose that this serves, I started it when it was in February, so quite close to the inauguration, and I was really upset about what was happening to our country. I live in the US and how trans people are being attacked. And so I really wanted to do something that I just wanted to do something. And it's hard. Like I live in Texas and I am chronically ill, and so I am sometimes not able to participate in things the way that I would like to. So I thought, well, at least I can stitch this and have people feel safe in my home. So that's like the purpose that this serves. But like I would not say I super enjoy the process of stitching on it, because I don't like the way my stitches look, particularly on this piece of fabric. They're too clunky, I think. They're too big. They're not delicate enough. I'm not a huge fan of the colors that person on Etsy picked, to be honest. These don't scream trans flag to me. I mean, once the heart is filled in, I think it will be a lot more obvious, but like, I think the color choices are a little random, and I don't know if I would like really recommend this pattern, to be honest. I feel like I could have done a better job. Is that bad to say? But it's a, you know, and then when you talk about like association, okay, well I stitched this a lot at one of my jobs, and then I was like, well, I don't want to stitch on it anymore because it reminds me of my job. And I stitched to escape. So then I had to stop stitching at my job. So yeah, like when we talk about like the vibes that each piece holds and the purpose it serves, it's so interesting how different it can be, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. One last look. I'm really trying to stretch it out. Yeah, this will be done by the end of the year for sure. Hopefully fully finished, because I do want to put it on my wall. I do think my stitches got fluffier after I washed it, which is great. So they do look like plumper, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I want to finish it, but I also have no desire to work on it because of the fabric that it's on. So I really feel like a lesson here is like shell out. There are some things you can shell out on. Like I was like, well, I'll just start it on like thrift store Ada. I don't need to be spending money on hand-dyed fabric. Okay, well, my two least favorite projects, my two projects that I feel the most conflicted on are this on thrift store Ada and my 16 count black Zweigart. I just enjoy stitching on hand-dyed Ada better. And so like I stitch on those projects more. So sometimes it's like, girl, just shell out, you know? I'm like completely gonna disprove everything that I've just said with this next project though. This is Tulip, Red Tulip by what is it by? Why can I not like exist right now? Oh, that's the pattern. You couldn't do anything with that. Magic Needle. That's what it looks like. It's one of my few paper patterns. I don't love the paper pattern. The pattern is just on the back of this, okay? That's nuts. I'm a PDF girl, okay? This is on like 14 count white Ada, and I thought I would hate it, and I think this is like some of the most beautiful stitching I literally have. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know if it's just like, I guess it's just the pattern. Like I just think the shading is incredible. This is the back, in case you're curious. Looks pretty good, to be honest. It's getting a little messy up here. I am really close. I started this last year, in like the fall of 2024. I'm pretty close to being done with it. I lost a color, and it was like a kit. So I don't know, I don't have like the DMC equivalent, and so I've stalled out on this one because of that. What I need to do is just stitch everything else and then fill in what's missing with random colors from the rest of the kit. I'm like nervous to do that because it's so beautiful and everything is so intentional that I'm worried I'm gonna mess it up. But like look at this petal. Tulips are my favorite flowers. There is like a pink counterpart that I kind of want to stitch. Okay, originally I was like, I don't want to buy from any other magic needle kits because I think they're based in Russia. I don't buy from Russian companies. And I didn't know it was a Russian company when I bought from it. But then I was looking it up, and it might actually be based in like okay, see, like this says made in Russia. So I really think it's Russian, so I'm not gonna get another one. At least until the war is over, which like, maybe we need to wait for Putin to die before that happens, I guess. I was looking it up and it was like, maybe it's based in like another Slavic country, but it really says, it says made in Russia on it. So I'm not gonna get another one until I think. That's why I'm like, I love Owl Forest embroidery with all my heart and soul. Like, I love their patterns, but I cannot buy them while the war is going on. And I think it's like a little crazy that they're so popular on FlosTube. I don't know. Did we like stop boycotting Russian goods? I'm not saying that Owl Forest embroidery, like the company itself, like supports the war. I have no idea what the intentions are behind the company, but like, when you buy Russian goods, part of that money goes to the Russian government. Like, that's just a fact. Yeah. This is like, I was like, it's gonna be chill, it's gonna be calm. We don't live in a calm and chill world, guys. This is life. That's so dramatic. Anyway, I love this tulip. Okay. Tulip it's banging. Like, it looks so good. This is one I want to finish by the end of the year. Like, I want it up on my wall. I want it done. I know I can. I'm just intimidated. I'm like kind of intimidated by finishing it. I don't have a lot of finishes. Almost everything that I finished I've given away as a gift. And so I feel kind of weird about, I'm like almost intimidated to finish this. You know? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's where I'm going with that. Next up is the love of my life. If you have seen my previous floss tubes, you're gonna be gagged when you see this, okay? This is a kit from Luca S called Spring Night. It's my only full coverage project. I started it the December 26th, and it is beautiful. Look at it. Oh my god. Immediately had to drop it. Okay. Look at her. You know what? You need to see the full piece. You need to see the full piece of fabric. This is how big the piece will be. I started in the center, and then kind of worked my way. So here's the story here. I started in the center because I didn't trust myself to measure on this fabric. So I started right here. So this is like a page, and I was working on this page for eons. Wow. And I was like, this is so weird. I thought there would be way more block stitching based on the photo, but I guess not. Wow. recently I decided to take a peek at the other pages and realized that I'm working on the most complicated page of the chart out of the 6 pages. So I moved up. And this is all one color. Because I realized there's 3,000, so there's 25,000 stitches in total, or a little less. This is all this is one color, and there's 3,000 of this one color. And I was like, I cannot save that to the end. I need to work on that now. And it's been very relaxing and like easy to work on as well. So this is all new. This is all like June and July. And I'm so obsessed with it. I think this is like 2,000 stitches in total. I love it. Oh my gosh. Big yawn. I'm like slightly allergic to my roommate's cat and I just pet it and now I'm like sinusy. I didn't need to tell you that. But yeah, I am really enjoying this. I want to finish it by the time I turn 30. I'm 25 now, so it's like 20% a year, which I think is really doable. It's definitely pretty small in terms of full coverage. It's 22,500 stitches in total. Which like a lot of people will do like samplers that size. But that's a lot of stitches for me, especially when you're not monogamous. So I just want to like chip away at this one. I do feel an urge to start more full coverage. I've so far resisted the urge because it feels silly to start like a giant full coverage right now when I have so many other things that I want to get progress on. We can check in 6 months and see if I continued to resist the urge or not. But yeah, one last look. Really, really happy with her. This is what I mean when I say like I just want to be making consistent progress on things. I want to be seeing progress. This is nowhere near being done. I don't work on it, every week, every day. I don't think I stitched on it at all in February, but I'm making consistent progress. And so I feel good about that. That's all I want. Okay, we're second to last. This piece of fabric is crazy big. This is my Doctor Who pillow sampler. It is not as big as this. So I think it's more like this. It's probably like this, I think, is how big it's gonna be. It's like a square. Because it's supposed to be a pillow top. I will not be doing that. I don't understand people who turn their stitching into pillows. Because I'm like, well, I spent like 200 hours on this. So if you sit on it, I'll kill you. You know what I mean? That's my vibe. This is getting framed when it gets finished. I started this purely because I named my channel after the TARDIS, the blue box. And I was like, okay, well, it's stupid if I don't have a Doctor Who stitch. And then I picked a huge one. It's like 10K stitches. That's what I have so far. I really wish I had more progress on this, to be honest. It doesn't call to me as much as I expected it to. I had kind of wanted to stitch on this while I did my rewatch of Doctor Who, but I have not been watching a ton of TV recently, so that I'm not stitching on this because I'm not watching a ton of Doctor Who. And I find also I've not finished the newest season. I know that's crazy, guys. I had to get surgery, spoiler alert. I had to get my gallbladder out, and so that's why I missed like a month and a half of Floss Tube, and all I did was like watch Floss Tube and Bob's Burgers. So I have 2 episodes left of the newest season. No spoilers. I kind of know what happens because, I'm on the internet. But like, I realized I was getting the most stitches done when I would watch a new episode and then I would do stitching later because I watched the episode. Because I didn't want to stitch while I was watching it because I wanted like every Easter egg. So I might have to rethink like my goals with this. But yeah, I mean, I think it looks great. Let's look at this let's look at this D, okay? I slayed with that. And then when I was like home for a few weeks and I was like, I'm gonna do all of Doctor Who on the top. I did the rest of the D and then I started the O and that was it. So this is one that I'm not making consistent progress on and it is bothering me. So I didn't tell you anything about this. I'm stitching this with 2 General Arts flosses, I think. Do I have them? No, Classic Colorworks Greeny Annie, which is like a dark blue, and Classic Colorworks Morning Glory, which is the blue that I have on here. Oh my god. And it's on 16 count Picture This Plus Prairie. So yeah, I really like it. I need to stitch on it more. This is also why I wanted to do my Mid Year WIP Parade. I just wanted to see like the status of where I'm at with things. Like, I don't have so many WIPs that I don't know, but I just wanted to like assess, you know? Yeah. Okay, we're at my last one. This is technically... Is this my oldest WIP? There are a lot of WIPs that I had in my 2024 WIP Parade that I'm not showing now. A few of them are just lost in the storage unit somewhere. A lot of them were like projects that I had started before I like really committed to stitching. They're just sort of random projects that I wasn't like really actively working on, and now that I have a ton of different projects that I'm actively working on, I don't really consider them to be WIPs anymore. Like, I can always go back to them, but I sort of consider them to be like the start of my stitching journey, but not the current, you know? So this is one of my older WIPs. It's a year old because I started it in June of 2024 for Pride Month. I really wanted to get a lot of progress on this in June. I did not. I'm gonna be honest. So it's Move Forward in Love by Modern Folk Embroidery. I'm using a Dying for Sass floss, just one floss. I don't remember the name, but like it's green and purple. So if you go on Dying for Sass Etsy, like you'll find it. It is currently like in a ball. The skein's just in a ball. I did not really organize it well. I love this piece. Just don't feel called to work on it that much. I don't know why. And then I didn't really get to celebrate June in the way that I wanted to celebrate Pride because I had to get my gallbladder out unexpectedly. And you cannot go to the gay clubs when you're recovering from gallbladder surgery. So that was annoying, but it's fine. Pride is year round. I'll find stuff to do. But I think because I was really bummed about that, I didn't really want to stitch on like the project that I consider my Pride project. It's really beautiful. I feel really good that I've like finished this hexagon. I really need to do Move. It says Move on the top. I just need to stitch it because I think that's also like, I don't want to stitch I'm not a huge fan of stitching letters. And so every time I'm like, oh, well, I should stitch on it. But once I stitch on it, like I really should just stitch Move, and I don't want to stitch letters, so then I don't stitch on it. So I need to just stitch it and get it over with, so then I can do all the fun like leaves. I know that the leaves are like, people get kind of driven crazy by the leaves in Modern Folk Embroideries. Stitching, I guess if I did like multiple, then maybe I would get crazy. I find them sort of fun to do because they're so simple. I also like realized that this is like slightly off, and so I'm like, I'm not gonna frog it, but I'm gonna need to figure out I need like to do a new starting point. I know that this is right, and so I need to like stitch around it because I cannot use this as like a counting point. And yeah, it's on 16 count Violet Fizz, I think, by Atomic Ranch. I really like Atomic Ranch's fabric. I wish I had more of it. Those are my WIPs. I have no idea how many that was. I have a few missing WIPs. So I started Progress Goose by I don't remember who it's by. I want to say Fine Frog Stitching, but that might be wrong. I started Progress Goose. I'll put a photo up here of the pattern because I don't know where it is right now. I also have Capybara Teacup by Needle Art Designs. That's somewhere. I want to finish that by the end of the year, so I need to find it. And then I have a Dimensions Wizard kit that I'm working on. Don't know where that is. Those are my other 3 WIPs that I am like actively working on. I just don't know where they are right now. And I don't want to like spend time finding them instead of filming this floss tube. But yeah, if you made it this far, thanks. I know a lot of people like find floss tubes through WIP Parade, so I guess like a little bit about me is I'm 25. I live in Austin, Texas, but I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I went to college in Boston, so I kind of consider D.C. and Boston to be like my homes, per se. But I like Austin, too. I lived here for about a year now. I just moved into a new apartment, so hopefully my stitching setup, I got this chair like specifically to be a reading and stitching nook, which I'm feeling pretty excited about. Besides stitching, I do a lot of reading. I love fantasy. I occasionally dabble in nonfiction. I am doing the our fantasy reading bingo, our fantasy bingo, which I would definitely recommend checking out on Reddit. So I'm trying to get Blackout. And I also just decided that I'm gonna start Herkyed, which is the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. If you just look up hardest reading challenge you'll ever do on YouTube, it'll like pop up. I forget who the creator is. My friend sent it to me and I'm gonna try to do it. It's crazy, but I have a lot of reading time this summer, so I'm like hoping to dive into that. I literally just finished Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I would highly recommend to anyone. It is phenomenal. I read it because another one of my hobbies is Dungeons and Dragons. I love playing D&D. I also love sports. I primarily watch women's sports, but I'm also really into men's hockey. What else? I don't know. That's kind of it. If you have any questions about any of my patterns or my life, I guess, I'd answer them below if I felt like they were a good question. And yeah, I feel like this is a weird way to end this video, but I hope everyone is having as good of a time as they can be in whatever situation they find themselves in. I know this is like a really hard time for a lot of us, and I hope I have found a lot of like peace watching Mid Year WIP Parades. So I hope you enjoyed mine, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!